Hi.
Hi, everyone. Oh my goodness, it's Friday. Whoop, whoop. Fierce Female Friday. Yes, yes, yes. And the final Friday of the first month of 2021. Can you believe it, ladies? We're already at the end of the first month. How did that happen?
I don't know. It's going by so fast.
It is going by incredibly fast. I completely agree. Welcome, everyone. As always, we'd love to know where you are watching from today. Are you home? Are you home on the range? Are you in the mountains? Are you on a yacht somewhere? Take us with you. Tell us where you're watching from. We'd love to know. If you are here for the replay, feel free to share that as well. I know there are some of you who are so consistent about coming in on your Friday evening or over the weekend to watch, and we love seeing those little notifications pop up in Facebook. So thank you so much. Talking to you first this time as opposed to last. So thank you, everyone. We have just a couple of WomanUP updates, and then Sarah's got some CAR things to share, and of course, we'll find out what's on Leslie's mind before we roll into our fun conversation with Ms. Molly McKinley. So let's see. First off is the book club, How Women Rise. The first conversation was fire. And I know you hear us say that a lot. Oh my goodness, props. It's awesome. This book is so good. It is food for our souls, ladies. This is also a great conversation for the men inside this group to understand the habits that the women on your teams are carrying with them. It is universal. The man and woman who actually did the research, who co-wrote the book, who actually co-read it in the Audible version, they really dig into those 12 habits. So please, please join us. Get yourself registered for that. We'll make sure to drop the event link in here, but that will be on 2/2, so Tuesday, 2/2 at 11 a.m. Pacific time. I guess if I say it's 2/2 at 2 o'clock Leslie's time, that's a lot of twos.
That's right.
Woo!
Groundhog Day.
I love that. All the twos. You know, we all love numbers. Second, if you haven't had a chance to hop on over to IamWomanUp.com/wisdom series -replays and catch all of the Q4 wisdom sessions, they're all there for you. We've got session notes. Molly did a session for us, so you can catch her session over there, but there are 7 total. So lots of ways to fill your walks and your education time with some amazing wisdom from the women inside this community. And on the 10th of this month, save the date because we have our very first Q1 wisdom session happening. We'll give more details soon. Christine George is actually helping us wrangle that one together, so you know it's gonna be good. Again, mark your calendars, 2/10, and we're gonna do that one again at 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern time. That's what I've got. Sarah, dropping the mic to you.
Oh goodness. Well, I just focused in on the chat, and hello to Peggy, who's here on a Saturday in Guam. So hi, Peggy. I know we have
Saturday.
It's Saturday. We have all kinds of time zones here. I just have 2 quick updates. Today, just an hour or so ago, the governor in California signed SB 91, which is effectively extending eviction moratorium in California. And that's through the end of June. So that will give some relief to tenants and hopefully some relief to landlords who, especially the small mom and pops who have their mortgage. And that money will be rolled out on a local basis. So we just had a lively town hall, and it had just dropped. And so there's a lot of questions. I will tell you that our legal team is working around the clock to get the Q&A together. And once it is final, I'll drop the link in the replay. It won't be final today. Maybe by the end of the day. They're hoping for that, if not Monday. And then the other thing that we are working on here in California is our board of directors meetings, which Leslie doesn't have to go to anymore. but it's over the next 2 weeks. And I do want to invite the Woman Up community who is in California. If you're a California realtor, you are welcome to join any of our meetings, but I have some really interesting ones. We have our Fair Housing and Diversity Forum, and Brian Green from NAR. We have Vanessa Perry, Dr. Vanessa Perry, who is from George Washington University, wrote the Sheba Report, which is the state of Black homeownership in America. And who else? And then our very own lawyer, Amanda Bouillon, is going to moderate that, or not moderate that. She's going to be on there because she's a fair housing law expert here on staff. Wow. And then Georgia Richardson is going to moderate that. And then additionally, we have our Strategic Planning and Finance Forum, which will be talking about, what's next? What's the future of real estate after COVID? And we want to get there, right? We really want to get there. And so we have Dowell Myers, who's the SC demographer. We have Daryl Fairweather, who's the chief economist at Redfin, a woman. And then Sanjay Wagle, who is our chief lobbyist up in Sacramento. And so we'll be talking all kinds of fun things. I'll drop the note, the link in the chat. And that's it for me. Leslie, what's on your mind? Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, there sounds like there's a lot of power women involved in what you're talking about, Sarah.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yes, the community is strong up in here.
I love it. All right, Leslie, what's on your mind?
Oh, well, I actually have my little secret people at CAR, and I'm hearing nothing but rave reviews about how well Sarah's doing. And it sounds like the events coming up for the directors' meetings are going to be fabulous. So kudos, Sarah, for all you're doing. I just have a couple quick things. I thought just from an economics perspective, we might want to recognize we're closing out 2020 with gross domestic product down 3.5%. And I think what's notable about that is it's not the -5% that we thought a couple of months ago. And that's because the third quarter rebound was so strong. And if you can think back about 4 or 5 months, that's when things opened up. The bad news is we had a bit of a dramatic pullback in the fourth quarter. And, we've seen just such a strong resurgence of COVID, and it's been on again, off again in terms of what businesses in the hospitality arena in particular can do. So it's been pretty tough. So the 33.4% third quarter increase was followed by only a 4% fourth quarter increase at an annualized rate. Not annualized, we went from 7.5% in the second and third quarter to 1% in the fourth quarter. All that being said, as you know, real estate has been the absolute bright spot in all this. And nationally, we've seen a 3.4% increase in sales in 2020, median home price nationally up almost 8%. And all of the forecasts we're seeing are for a stronger market in 2021. So certainly we need to anticipate changes after COVID, but certainly also appreciate just how strong our business has been. So that's from that. I just had to do a little book sharing here, and I'm reading this. I will be there on Tuesday. It's absolutely excellent. So How Women Rise, highly recommended. Secondly, you're wondering what it's like being retired. Well, it's really interesting. It's really interesting. So one of the books I'm starting to get into that I want to do is kind of just a side activity is flower arranging. So I bought this beautiful book on flowers, and I'm very interested in getting into that. And then the other thing that's happened in my life is John had a few health challenges over the last month or so. So one of the things we decided we could do proactively is start eating a whole food diet, right? And I have a friend who's done this the last 6 months, and I know many of you are already there. But anyway, so I read The Pleasure Trap, which kind of explains how our normal processes got hijacked in the modern world of processed foods. And then our Bible here is this straight up food recipe book that I highly recommend. So if anybody's there and has a question or a suggestion, please let me know. But we're really feeling absolutely terrific and hopeful and a little bit thinner. He more than me, but I mean, it's going there. So those are my updates, and it's really great to see everybody and be here. And I can't wait to hear what Molly has to say.
I love that. And, you know, I'm curious now we have two economic geniuses in retirement together in the kitchen, cooking whole foods that you're like talking about the scientific reason why you're now eating this. Do you also talk economics while all of this is happening, or do you like, oh, I should probably look at that? Is it still woven in at the top of the conversation, or is all this other stuff kind of taken precedence?
No, it's all combined. It's all combined. I mean, John is a wealth of information. I said, I feel like I'm living with Mr. Wikipedia. Let me pick a topic. Let's go there, you know. But it's really fun to talk about. You know, we read the Times and the Journal every morning together and talk about things. So that's part of it. But there's all these other things in life that are going on, and you just want to sample everything. So that's what we're doing.
I love it. I love it. Oh my goodness.
Just real quick, sending you a little love from the chat. Barbara Dudek, I think I'm saying Dudek. Yeah, she says, "You go, Leslie. Sky's the limit." And prayers to John. And then everybody's dying for the titles of your books. So we'll post those in the chat as well.
Okay, sure. I'll send them to you. Yeah.
Excellent. Awesome. And I just got a text from somebody that had this picture. This is the newest thing that's flying around. I mean, hello, twinsies. Can we say twinsies? We are channeling our collective power because we have a powerhouse leader with us today whose word of 2021 is power. Molly is here with us. For those of you who do not know Molly, I'm going to share a couple highlights and we're going to jump in. So she's the VP of brand marketing at RateMyAgent, and RateMyAgent, for those of you who are new to the community, was a Gold Plus sponsor last year. They actually helped us create 2 really fun videos that created some serious buzz for us last year. They are joining us as Gold Plus again. And so I have a feeling we'll have something fun floating in the airwaves at some point this year with RateMyAgent. She's also the CEO of Intentionalities. She's a founder of Redtail Creative. She wears lots of hats. Lots of hats. She's a mom, she's a wife, she's a friend, she's a collaborator. And so much of what she brings to the table here for us at WomanUP is helping us connect the dots between what we want our vision, what our vision is, and how we can tell those stories in different spaces. She is a creatrix, and we are so, so thankful to have you with us today, Molly. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Happy to be here. I love anytime that gets to chat with the ladies.
Well,
real quick, can I add what amazing conversations you both have on Spill the Tea Tuesday mornings. I try to get in and listen to those every single Tuesday. So
we are so thankful that you're there.
2 ladies.
It's definitely a highlight of my week for sure. You know, I love it. It's very soul filling for sure.
Well, and for those of you who don't know, Spill the Tea, Molly and I do a lot of collaboration, as you know. And at the beginning of the pandemic, shelter in place, shelter at home, stay at home, whatever you want to call it, we thought it was going to be a quick series. Now it's like 40 episodes later, here we are. But it's not business related. It's all about our souls, and we breathe and we meditate. And Sarah is there so often adding beautiful layers to the conversation. And I think that this week in particular, it was a wild week. This was a week that a year ago, all of us were in New York City. We had no idea what was coming. Goodness sakes, you did something wild this week, Molly. You hosted your very first virtual event with RateMyAgent. So let's kind of dig into that. The emotions around that. Are you floating? Are you sleeping? What are you, what's happening?
Well, I am at the beach. My daughter and I came to the beach. We're always chasing internet because we live on the farm with no internet. So she just went out to the beach, slamming the door. Teenagers. But, you know, Yeah, I remember it might have even been last January in New York. I was talking to Mark Armstrong, the CEO and co-founder of RateMyAgent. And he basically was like, we have this big awards ceremony in Australia. It's a really big deal. And I'd like you to put it on in the US next year. And I'm like, I don't know. People are really fatigued with awards, the lists, all of this stuff. There's a lot of it. And
It's a lot.
yeah. And it's, I'm like, I don't know. I just don't know if there's an appetite for that because, there's just a lot of weariness and a lot of fatigue. And so, he was sharing with me about it. And then actually they flew me out to Australia so that I could see the Australian awards.
The ultimate close.
Yeah, I know. Nice. Mark knew what he was doing for sure. And, when I saw the people on stage in Australia and they were crying and they had their family members there, I realized, what, this actually is different. This isn't a popularity contest. This is an algorithm based on review data, and that it surfaces people who would otherwise not necessarily get recognized in our industry, because there is no pay to play. There is no, being a sponsor. There is no being a client. There is none of that stuff that, that we see often in the real estate industry. It's really based wholly on verified and reviewed data. And so I know, like in the back channels, I was getting a lot of texts, about, who and how and why the people who are on there. And I'm like, that is what is actually really beautiful about the awards, is that it celebrates people from their client's voice. And the only way to win an Agent of the Year award is to have really great client reviews. And so I think it's something that is actually a breath of fresh air. And even though there is award fatigue, we're really spotlighting people who have earned a pat on the back from their clients. And I actually think it's really beautiful. So I kind of went from skeptic into, yeah, actually I could throw my heart and soul into this because we get to tell the right story. And so each year it's going to be different and new and fresh faces. I loved that our winners are really representational of the industry. I mean, there's parts that were clunky this year, I'll totally own that. We learn as we go. Next year is going to get better and better. But for us, putting on a virtual awards program in the middle of a pandemic, I don't know if most people realize, but RateMyAgent, like my team, we cross 6 time zones. So we are truly a global team, and we have all of these extra challenges with just, where we all are located. And, if nothing else, like I was so incredibly proud of how everybody just did their role. And, the idea of, for me, like being, Christy Keneally and I is on the team, obviously, and we work really closely together. But, I think for me, like the leadership in this comes where you can see your teammates and where they are amazing and in their sovereignty, and you give them space to be their best selves. And this was one of those moments where, Teddy from and Mike from 36 North, they're my video team that I've worked with since the very beginning in Adwerx days. We've worked together so closely. And Beth, my beloved designer that I've worked with for the better part of 15 years. Actually, even when my best friend from college has come over now to RateMyAgent. So this team that we're stacking over at RateMyAgent is like, it really is sort of my favorite people that I've ever worked with along the road. And so just a huge shout out to Josiah and to Vic and, Lori Weston Davis and Bill Risser. I mean, like the team over at RateMyAgent is kind of amazing. So, I'm just like, that to me is the most gratifying thing about all of it.
Well, and you pointed to Teddy and Mike, and they have participated in WomanUP, obviously, in some of the videos, but they're woven into even deeper. They're woven into California Association of Realtors now. Like that the connecting of the dots, which, you know, I know that you are passionate about. We all do. They did a really amazing video series, right, Sarah? That
Yeah,
was for
fair
fair housing.
housing. Yeah, they're super talented and just so you know, giving. And I was about to ask you, Molly, what your highlight was, and I could see what with what you just shared that it was the people, right? Like as many heartaches and tech drama that we have in virtual events and Facebook Lives sometimes. Yeah, was that your highlight?
It was, you know, like we went into this, you know, this will be a live event, you know, award ceremonies tend to be kind of boring, you know, and it's hard to keep people's attention on a screen, especially after, you know, we were sort of the 5th networking hour after Inman. And so people have been on a screen all day. And so we were trying to factor in all of these things. And, you know, like we have Christy on our team, and she is a Broadway performer. And there's not often that marketing has access to talent, right?
She is such a
So
hoot.
good. She's watching. Hi, Christy.
Oh, hey,
Feel the love.
Oh my God, that tux.
yeah. I mean, you know what? So like the fact that we have her, right? And we have access to her talent, you know, it's like she, you know, allowing her to do what she does, you know, and that, you know, her brand of comedy, you know, is, you know, it was different and fun. And we were hoping that we could find this balance of seriousness with Mark, and then, you know, the humor with Christy. And, you know, whether we struck it or not, you know, but, you know, for me, like watching everybody just play their part was really I had such pride for my team. I really, it was a special moment for me. And especially like there were 40 something videos on that back end. So like Teddy and Mike, they were like in the back.
Done.
Vic was like doing all of this stuff. I mean, it was truly like, you know, I just was so proud of them. So
It was a work of art, and you couldn't tell all the background stuff. It was smooth, and it was really a great, unique event.
well, especially in a pandemic, getting all of that back footage. I mean, like, you know, Teddy and Mike are artists. Like I said, I am so incredibly loyal to my people. They'll know that, you know, if you're in my good graces, you are in my good graces. I am going to love on you. And, you know, it is, you know, like I said, I have so much gratitude for the work that we can do, and kind of creating space for people to be awesome, you know?
Yeah, it's clear.
100%.
I think anytime you elevate customer service in a way like this is so positive for this industry, right? Because everybody talks a great game, but to actually have the data from the consumer, and I mean, this is something Sarah and I have been supportive of for decades, you know, is why don't we look like other industries that evaluate and rank and are transparent about these things? So we are just so supportive of what you're doing, you know, and we talk a lot about raising the bar in the industry. Well, this is the way to do it, you know?
Well, and here's the best part is it's free. Anybody can do a free profile. You know, there are, you know, the business model for RateMyAgent is that you can upgrade into a subscription, but that you don't have to have any of that to qualify. So as long as you are being awesome and you are collecting reviews, you are in the running. And, you know, like that to me is, again, it's not a pay to play. Anybody can win. And that is something we're not trying to pit agent against agent with transactions and, you know, sides and numbers. We really just want to celebrate those people who have just really done all of the stuff that doesn't usually get talked about. I mean, Marie Presti, I never had even met her before this. And, you know, she's her own broker. She won, I think the Mid-Atlantic, somewhere she won the region. And she's like, nobody pats me on the back, you know, like, so just to even be validated and seen, you know, it was really touching for her. So, you know,
New England. She's New England. I'm looking at my sheet.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's just, I don't know. It was good. So props to Mark for having vision, and really seeing that matters and that it could matter in the US as well. And I'm super grateful for him tapping me on the shoulder to be the person to make it happen.
I'm so glad you said that, because Mark does get it, right? You get it, Mark gets it, RateMyAgent gets it, and we are so grateful at WomanUP for your sponsorship. And so we want to be able to, and besides the amazing event this week, what is going on with RateMyAgent in 2021, and how can the community support you?
Oh yeah, actually, we have very big plans for 2021. Last year, we really blew through our BHAGs, which are the big, hairy, audacious goals. And we set them very, very high and we hit them. And it was really, really awesome. And so this year we have ridiculous goals again. And, so I'm always trying to crunch the numbers and figure out, okay, how are we going to get there? But something happened at Inman, and I want to share this story because it's going to be something that is in the works. But Elaine, we were in a conversation and in one of the Inman sessions, and we were talking about something about being pro agent tech. And I'm like, pro agent tech is where it's at. Like if you are a vendor and you aren't in love with the agent being part of the transaction, you probably aren't going to make it, because COVID proved to everyone that this is a human business, and homes are not just houses, they are homes. And it matters, right? It is sacred work. Yes. And I just believe that in my bones. And I think that agents will always be a part of that. And so like pro agent.
Definitely speaking our language for sure at the California Association of Realtors.
I just fundamentally believe that. I mean, I've bought a lot of homes, and I just, it's where you raise your family. It's just, it matters. It is sacred work. I really, truly believe that. And so I was like, pro agent tech. Well, Elaine, she sidebarred me. She's like, you gotta trademark that. And I was like, I'm too busy. Save it. Let everybody use it. We all need to have pro agent tech. We all win. And she went and bought the URL. And she said, look, here's your favorite. And she said, and her quote was, I'm like, send me the Venmo, I'll buy it. She's like, nope, this is my gift. WomanUP was her direct behind the channel.
It's incredible.
We love Elaine Hansen.
Yeah, she's incredible. And so we have proagenttech.com. And that is going to be our platform where we have Christy teaching pro agent tech tips. And so that's going to be a huge initiative for us next year. So it's really good stuff. But, props to Elaine for seeing that vision. And I was still numb from the awards ceremony, kind of still bumping into walls. And but that's what that is what you talk about, like having each other's back. Yes. And that's what it's all about right there. So so much love and gratitude to her. Seriously.
Such a great story.
So
oh my goodness.
Molly, what you just said about, sacred work and it's a personal business and all that is so true. And yet what the pandemic showed us, like what you're saying, is it's technology too. And they're no longer fighting each other, but the fact that you have to do everything, virtually, or you're going to be left behind, has just really pushed this industry 5 years from where it would have been. So seeing that marriage of, nobody's questioning that anymore. You need an agent, but you need an agent that can do tech, is like, thank God we're through that now.
Yeah.
Amen.
It's a yes and. I mean, that is
exactly.
that makes us able to serve the client experience better is where it's at. And I mean, to me, I just think that's crystal clear. So yeah, proagenttech.com is going to be launching this year.
Well, what's interesting, what I love about that, and what really, I think, reconnects right back to WomanUP and our vision of having more women in leadership in brokerage and in real estate tech, is that for years at these conferences, you've heard these tech CEOs talk so negatively about agents. right? Like
Mm.
they're idiots, or they don't get this, or they're not tech savvy, or whatever this, and it was always so like baffling.
I know. I'm like,
You're like, it's your client that you're talking about. What's happening here? And not only that, but the next, that other layer of that, the kind of the masculine energy of power, right? Like it's all about the numbers and the $1 million listings and all of this. And to start to see this shift into an area where we're really awarding and rewarding and recognizing people for what really truly matters. And that is that interaction with the consumer, who we are here to serve.
Yep.
And that the conversations are filled with words like it's sacred work. And we're shining a light on these humans who do have that in common. It's like the way we raise kids. We can either punish them for what they've done wrong or celebrate them when they've done something right. And there's a big difference. So where we're focusing is flourishing. And I'm so excited to see us all go that way. Wow. Kudos.
I think
kudos.
also just the focus on quality, right? Because there are agents that have been resistant, right? And not really kind of seeing where the ball's moving. And again, this last year, you've had to do that, or you haven't been able to stay in the business. So you've really seen the rise of these incredible agents, and many of them are in the WomanUP community, which is so terrific. So switching gears just for a minute, Molly, in Deborah's introduction, she went through like the mosaic of all that you are and all that you do. So what are you up to now, and what do you see kind of coming down the pike for you?
Well, this past year, Heather Elias and I had joined forces, and we have been really doing some consulting work together. We both agree that, to coin Mark's term, that 1 + 1 is 3. So she and I have been sort of helping out with my long-term consulting arm called Redtail Creative. The interesting thing is, with my boxes, intentionalities, the T's are still going. This year we were able to add in a goodness loop. So now all of our T's give back to causes that we care about. And my wife and I are managing all of that. So that is really cool. But what's morphed through Redtail is that we have really started doing a ton of custom boxes for other clients. I know we've done one for WomanUP. We do them for RateMyAgent. We've done them for Home Rover, and am talking with a bunch of other people, but we're doing a ton of these boxes now. And sometimes they have the T component, and sometimes they're just branded pieces. And the idea for that is really along this idea of being really intentional about your messaging and how do you deliver an experience for someone. And I think that's something that we care deeply about and are getting pretty good at. And so Redtail Creative now has a whole fulfillment arm. So we're able to not just create the boxes and the branding and all of the stuff, but we can fulfill it too. And so this
look at Sarah's face.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, right. So we can do all of that. And so we're going to be starting to introduce some, Stacy was a Special Olympics coach for years, and she was a special ed teacher, and worked with people with developmental disabilities. And so adding that layer into our fulfillment is going to happen this year as well, so that we can have a goodness loop, not just in terms of financial give back, but also employing people who are who need it, gainful employment. So that is really good. And I am probably going to make a bigger commitment to RateMyAgent. So they've been trying to, we're having those conversations. So I am not quite sure, but lots of good things are happening. But yeah, and of course my book. So.
Well, that was the perfect segue, because
Perfect.
I would love to talk about that. You are launching your very first book this year. So yeah. Tell us all about that.
Yeah, this book is, it's a long time coming, and it was a long birthing process. I've been, 15 years ago is when I became a yoga teacher. And, when I was doing my yoga training, I kept thinking, oh my gosh, like there's so many parallels here, that if people had this information and applied it to business, like there isn't sort of we all come to a table from a different perspective, right? We were brought up differently. We have different spiritual backgrounds, or none at all. We were raised differently. Our morals and ethics are very different. And there really just isn't a common language in business. And I think that gives us lots of room for not being so great to each other, right? And, in yoga, there's what's called yama and niyama, which are the first two branches of what's Patanjali outlined as the 8-limbed path of yoga. And these are right ways of living with yourself and right ways of living with others. And when you really take these yamas and niyamas and you apply them to just life, it all of a sudden, everything starts to make sense, from even things from like non-harming and not stealing, and not just stealing things, but stealing ideas and stealing credit and gossiping and stealing others' conversations. There's all of these ways that we can dissect and look and apply. So the first chapter is really just about this, like, what does yoga and other intentional practices applied to business, what does that look like? And is there a path to purpose and prosperity where we're not selling out? And that's really what my book is about, the intentional business. So
yes, I'm so excited.
Oh, I need to buy like 20 copies, please.
Well,
pre-order.
Well, it's funny. I had a major wake-up call, and this is going to be maybe being vulnerable really for a second, is after the awards, like we had all, put our heart and souls into this, and, we got some feedback that wasn't so great, right afterward, which is sometimes hard because, we're just exhausted, and sometimes it's hard we fundamentally believe that feedback is a gift at RateMyAgent. That's a core value, but sometimes when you're raw, it's just hard to receive, right? But I had kind of a moment where I was feeling really, really vulnerable. And, I was laying in bed and thinking, oh my gosh, I hope, we just, it was a lot of work, and just kind of felt overwhelmed. And then like the voice in my head was like, you got to thicken up, girl, because your book is not going to be for everyone, and there are going to be people who look at that and they're going to think that I'm a hypocrite, or that who, they're going to say all of the things, that my book is garbage. And I just had this moment where I was like, I got to toughen up before this thing comes out, so that was sort of my lesson in all of this, is when we create and we step into this creatrix role, it's not easy. And we pretty much put a target on ourselves. And so, that's kind of was my lesson in all of this.
I wish I could just give you a great big hug right now. Oh my goodness. So I have so many things to say about that. First of all, I love this because you and I actually talked afterwards, and this is an important piece for everyone listening. You have to have your Deborah, you have to have your Molly and your Sarah and your Leslie all in your circle, so that when you get that feedback, and by the way, an unsolicited opinion is not feedback, it's criticism. And so the other side of that is also ask people, are you open to feedback? I have some thoughts. Like just calling somebody and spewing negative about something they've just done, that's never going to get the elevation you might think it's going to get. And I think that
counterproductive. I've had that.
And there's haters everywhere. It's just the reality today.
And there are ways, there are beautiful ways to start having those conversations. And if we can all just shake off the shame from the times where we have done that, where we've said like, oh my gosh, that was awful, or without asking permission, right? May I share a couple of ideas with you? That's such a key lesson for us, especially as we walk into all this new territory over the last 12 months. Virtual is different. We can translate some things, but not all. And the fact that we have a community like this of women and men who see us, who understand us, who want to support us, reach out, because there are thousands of voices who appreciate and love and found that entire event fun and exciting and different and would do it all over again.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's just that one voice. It's so easy for us to think about that one voice. It's easier for our minds to remember the negative. And that's why we have the power of our community. And I'm so grateful for that.
Well, and it's just one of those things though, like we all as, as creators, right? That's why like power is my word, is because, it's not easy to lead with compassion. And, it's, it's one of those, the new way of doing business in my mind is really about this idea of empathetic, compassionate, kind, you know, mutual benefit. And if we can't find those moments where everybody is winning, there's probably another path forward, right? We just don't have to sacrifice each other anymore. I think that's a scarcity mindset, and it's old. And we're the ones who can flip the switch, right? And so
Absolutely.
it's just one of those things. But I actually, like I said, I fundamentally believe that all feedback is a gift. It's just sometimes we're a little bit more raw, and but it was a good lesson, because now I'm like, I know what work I have to do leading up to this launch in March. And that is to get okay with whatever comes my way. I didn't write this for anyone else. I wrote this for myself because it was something that was, scratching inside of me for the better part of 15 years. And so, it's finally done and, ready to be born, and love it or hate it, it's out there.
So good. Oh my goodness. Well,
good. There's so
I'm
much
so
love
excited
for
for
you in
people
the
to
chat
have a
too.
way to get in touch. I know that Beth has been working on something.
Yeah, so Beth and I are building a new site, and it's going to be the umbrella for all of this, right? It's intentionaltogether.com, and Intentional Together will have the story of RT, the story of the book. It'll have links to all of my intentional collaborators that I absolutely lean on and love on. And it'll also start to we'll start to tell our stories about the things that I'm personally passionate about with intentional living. Everything from gardening and homesteading and seed saving and solar and all of these things, Whole Foods, Leslie, living a vegetarian lifestyle, all of these things that are part of what I think are the things that can help protect and heal our planet. And it's going to be a place where all of that kind of comes together. We don't have that right now. It's all kind of all over the place. So, and again, just huge props to Beth Brandt. She has a brand called Three Moons Collective. She's always my first call on any new project. She is an absolute genius and can actually read my mind. And so sometimes I'm not easy to work with because, I'm just not. And, but she gets me. And yeah, like I said, we've been probably 10, 15 years now. So it's just one of those people that is my number, first call. So,
and Molly, I just want to say, the world is changing, and we all know that, right? And you look at the headline this morning with General Motors saying what, by 2035, they're not going to make any more gas guzzling cars, and what that means for the rest of the industry and for the internal combustion engine and a happier planet. And it's going to be mainstream, so we really need to have these discussions about what that's going to look like and how to make it happen.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think for most of my life, I've been kind of marginalized as a hippie. And now it's kind of coming to pass that like, it's time. It's actually not, we're not on the edge anymore. We need to all kind of do our part and get in flow with the cycles and the rhythm of things instead of trying to contain and consume. How do we work with, right? Pulling on that ancient knowledge, pulling on the wisdom of gardening and permaculture and all of these things to really create something that is more productive and whole. So
Just absolutely beautiful. I want you to go in the chat, Molly, when you get a chance later, because there is so much love for you from our community.
Oh,
Just amazing.
I appreciate
You're
that.
amazing.
I'm tired. Can you tell? Like I'm all like,
It's Friday.
It is Friday.
Rest.
This was a really
I'm
hard week. I'm
exhausted.
not gonna lie. I had a really hard last week. My wife and my son are sick at home, so Kate and I are here. Yeah, it's just, it's been a hard week. So I'm just glad
You're here in a safe space.
Yes,
We love you.
my people. So it's good.
We love you.
we are your people.
You are, for sure.
Well,
It's like we're all like
I mean, I feel like we need to do some breathing like we do on Spill the Tea.
Why don't we end with that? I mean, right? Like,
You want to?
Could that? Yeah.
Yeah,
Why
I think we
not?
should. I think that would be good. Let's
right.
This is something that Molly leads us in every Tuesday morning at 9:30 as well. So for those of you who love this, you can join us.
All right, guys, let's find our seat. Lift through the spine, grounding through those sitting bones. Maybe the feet are pressing into the earth. Let's take our hands and find our heart and our belly and just start to connect to the breath. Breathing in through the nose, feeling the rise, the fall of the chest, and exhale completely through the mouth. Breathing in through the nose, and exhale through the mouth. One last collective breath together, in through the nose. And exhale, let it all go. One body, one breath, guys.
So
I don't
good.
get to do that enough. Thank you so much, Molly.
You guys are awesome.
You're awesome. No, you.
Ladies, we have to say goodbye. I know that the chat is like, no, keep going.
Like, don't you wish we could, like, it's Friday night, we have like our jammies and our glass of wine.
I know.
Sleepover.
I know. One day we're gonna start doing retreats. That's what we have to do. Our
Yep. You know it.
Yes.
Whole foods, yoga, meditation, lots of girl talk, lots of, all of it. So
Yep. We will make it happen. It will happen.
good stuff.
Any last words of wisdom you want to sprinkle over the community, plant in the soil?
No, I just, I'm just so, this is it, guys. It's time for us. I think we've all been linking arms, and I think this year more than ever, we can do this. It is our moment. It is girl power time, so it is.
And we are doing it.
We are doing it, right?
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, that's it, and I think Elaine today, I mean, like, I just can't tell you how incredibly moved that was, and she's like, it's my gift, woman up, and when we show up for each other that way with nothing to gain, right? That's where the magic happens. So.
Completely. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for spreading and sprinkling and planting and all of the wonderful non-violent battle or sports analogies and metaphors we can think of. Because this is how we make change. We pay attention to the words we choose. We pay attention to the energy we bring into the room, whether it's a virtual Zoom room or, the kitchen in our own homes. So for all of you who are here with us today live, thank you so much. If you made it here on the replay, we are so incredibly grateful for you. Feel free to leave comments. We will be watching and connecting with you, of course, as soon as Molly's book is out. We will have her back if she'll join us, and we'll talk about the book and how you can all plug into that and get connected. For those of you who missed the beginning, we have a book club coming up next week, 2/2 at 2 p.m. Eastern time, How Women Rise. It is a spectacular book. We had such a great conversation. Please join us for that. And also save the date for the 10th of February. We're having our very first wisdom session in the Q1 series coming up. So we'll have more details for that. And oh, I forgot something exciting. I think Melanie is in this stream starting on Monday. We are going to be sending out a kind of a weekly email in our email list that talks about who's coming up on Friday. It'll highlight a replay of help you really connect with the community in different ways. So be on the lookout for that. It's coming from WomanUP. If you haven't signed up to be on our email list, hop on over to IamWomanUp.com. IamWomanUp.com. That's woman with an A, whoop, whoop, and .com, and sign up just right there on the front page where it says, hey, give me information, and you will be added to the email list and you'll get that amazing weekly email. I'm so excited for all of you to get that. Until next week, have a great weekend and a great next 7 days. Cheers.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye. Thank you, Molly.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. So good to see you.
Thank you.